pop it like this.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
We're live.
The podcast is live.
Again, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm hoping that this is streaming on my channel. Is there a way to check that?
I can go.
It is. It's streaming. It's streaming right now. Woo, there's people
We
waiting.
know what we're doing.
We totally know what we're doing.
And it looks like, it looks like it's going. So I'm just going to...
Perfect. Hopefully people start showing up.
Yes. Okay, look, we have comments. They're over here. I don't know what I'm doing. I've never been the host.
Aaron, click the link.
Everybody in.
There we go.
There's Aaron. And this is a special one that was last second that we don't even know. Nobody knows. Here we go. Ready? Julie Joe! Yay! I'm so excited. I will change the view again. Don't know what I'm doing, and we're learning everything. I'm so excited to have you guys. Yay, Megan! Hi. I can see the chat. I can do this, you guys.
Boy,
Yes, we totally can do this.
If anyone's ever been on my podcast, they know that this is exactly what it's like before we hit record. It's like, this is what we're going to talk about. I'm super excited to talk to you. Let's do this. And all of these beautiful women have been on my podcast, and so I was like, please be with me. I'm so excited. Like always, I feel like Deanne when I say that. I'm so excited. I do have notes. The first thing I want to say really quick, we're going to start off these shows with a little bit of housekeeping, like sometimes I do on the podcast if I remember. The first thing is I'm really excited, and I finally do actually get to talk about this. I was nominated by Amanda Montel at the end of last year as to be this year's Leukemia and Lymphoma Society Woman of the Year. So I am in the running for San Diego as the Woman of the Year. I'm going to be building a fundraising team, and we're going to be doing this really incredible thing. This is for the anti-MLM community. The anti-MLM community can raise money for good as opposed to raising money for stupid MLMs that maybe will never give your recipients their money ever. The 80% of the leukemia lymphoma societies, maybe that's our team name. The leukemia lymphoma society, again. That's not a word.
We don't have an editor on this one.
Don't. This is live and real.
Y'all are getting us raw.
80% of the donations actually go to the research, which is incredibly high, and I'm really excited. And I just wanted to talk about that, just to let everybody know that we will be introducing that and talking about that. And so if you hear it on the podcast or you see us doing things, absolutely, we are doing that. It starts in April and it goes until June, and there's a gala, and I get to wear a gown, and I'm so excited, you guys. And of course, on the back end, you guys will be there for everything that I can share. I am so excited. This is such a community effort, and this community has grown leaps and bounds in the last few years, especially in 2021. And I've been wanting to do this for a really long time. And so here we are. We're going to do it. I'm going to change this so we can all kind of see ourselves a little bit better.
Am I eating
turn my light down a bit because it's pretty bright.
Am I eating breakfast? Yes, I am.
Yeah, I have all my ADHD drinks. I have my coffee.
I have my
lemonade,
mediocre white male tears,
and my water.
Love that. Love that.
I need that. Can I send that to Stu?
I
think I need to send that to Stu.
My amazing mother bought this for me for Christmas.
That is truly
amazing.
So another thing that we're going to do on here, and it's something I joke about a lot because people are like, did you hear? And I'm like, nope. Oh my God, did you see? No, I didn't. Nope. I'm so busy on the back end and like with making TikToks and like in our collaborative groups that I don't know the drama. I don't know the news sometimes. And so for me, I have to go to you guys and say, what's happening? So this is the section and the segment that will eventually become like what's happening in MLM. I don't know what it's going to be called yet. Again, flying by the seat of our pants. This is the pilot episode. You're all here witnessing, it becoming whatever it's going to become right now. So this is the time where we're going to talk about all of the ridiculous things that are happening this week in MLM. What I know is that Monet is up there and Ariel is up there. And I don't know what's going on other than what you guys tell me. So let's talk first about Monet, because I really do probably have the most information and knowledge about what's actually happening with Mandy Sue and with Stu and with the email campaign and what's happening to you, Mallory, and all of that. So
what is happening?
Let's talk.
Today?
I'm going to mute myself so that you guys can talk, but let's talk about what's going on in Monet. And anybody that's like, what actually is happening? Like I saw the screenshots, or I saw, so-and-so stories. What's going on?
Yeah, so let's talk about it. I posted a video last night about it, and basically, let's sum it up. So Mandy Evans, she is currently a senior executive director at Monet, from a very reliable source. Apparently, her entire family is involved in Monet. It's not just her; it's her mom, it's her grandma, it's all of her sisters underneath this pyramid. Yeah, and so what the big trouble is that we are kind of hypothesizing is that to remove Mandy Evans would be devastating to the family. And not only that, but just to the entire pyramid that is underneath her. And so that is theoretically why it's taking so long for anything to happen, if anything is in the works. So if you didn't see any of the videos, basically it started a while ago where Mandy Evans was posting Instagram stories where she was, the first one, I think she was, the first one that I remember seeing was she called Black people her chocolates. And she was referring to them as her milk chocolates. And when she said, I want to talk to all of my Black people. And then she said, you shouldn't be offended by that, right? Nobody should be offended by that. So that was like the first egregious thing, which I remember there was a bit of an uproar about it, but nothing really major that happened. And I don't remember if this was before or after that, but she went on to a work call in a dark colored mask, right? Like a charcoal mask. And outrightly, did she say anything outright racist? No. But the indication was there. She was laughing. Like, why would it be so hysterical that she's wearing a dark colored mask? It was kind of implied. And that one kind of went under the radar as well. Then most recently, she made a story, what I guess was a week ago at this point, where she was doing her talent, and her talent being a very terrible Asian accent, just wildly offensive, completely inappropriate. So while we started, and the really big problem with that was that the story was up for 16 hours before anybody really saw it. And I don't know who sent it to me or how I ended up seeing it first, but I think I just had the luck of the draw that I was the first one to put a TikTok up about it, because then other people started seeing it. And then shortly after, she took it down from her stories. And then like the next day, she posts a story of her child eating the thermal shield, and she's just laughing about it and putting it on her story and filming it like it's no big deal. And she literally said, I'm not that worried about it because, Monet's all natural and it's fine. But then she's talking to her son being like, no, we don't do this. This is bad. We can't be doing this. But she's still, and then he's screaming at her because he's taking something from her. And, I said in my video, like, I don't like to mom shame or tell them how to parent. But when it comes to poison, you should not be pulling out your phone. Like, it's one thing if you catch your child drawing all over the walls and you want to pull out your phone and record it and make a thing, whatever. Your child was consuming a cosmetic product. That should not in any way be, let me make this an Instagram moment so I can tell everybody how our products are natural. So naturally, I started a call to action on TikTok and Instagram, like saying, send this to Stuart McMillan, who is the cringy, mediocre white man CEO or president. I don't think his title is CEO. I don't care. Whatever. He's disgusting, and I hate looking at his face. And he the best part is that he reads all of our messages. He comes to our stories, and we see that he has viewed our stories. So he is blissfully aware. And I say blissfully because I think he is loving every second of this. I really do. I think
Absolutely.
that he loves
like getting a huge kick out of it. It's gross.
Yes. So then we started sending emails. I put an email link in my story that just like generated a generic, like not generic, but like an email that's like, Mandy Evans, this is what she did. Do something about it now. I've been sending emails every morning at 8 a.m. They're just in my drafts auto, like they're scheduled to go out. I'm going to set up today another round of them for the next week to just keep going out. And just, keep making videos to put the pressure on. The funny thing was that I guess they had a Zoom celebration last night where they started a new hashtag, Monet Q4. I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but there's like a screenshot of Stu literally in the oh, the sun's so bright. He's like, like just looking so happy as if racism isn't, everywhere. So basically I have been also then in the interim collecting stories. So if anybody is on here that is a market partner and you have an experience, a story, anything that shows the racism that exists within the corporation, I'm collecting all that, and I'm going to start making a second video, and I'm just going to keep putting out Monet is racist part 2, part 3 until they do something and acknowledge it. I've contacted a news person in Las Vegas who apparently has done some Monet things. So yeah, just whatever we can do to get coverage. But basically it's clear that Monet doesn't care. What I forgot to mention was that in October, there was a market partner, not an SED, market partner. So like if anyone's watching and you don't know the ranks, market partner is the lowest entry level. You're making no money at all. And she made a video where she didn't even suggest, she said we should have the illegal immigrants be slaves. Like that's why we should deal with the cargo ships that are being unloaded. Yeah. And everybody made a big deal about it and she got fired. And Monet publicly put on Twitter, we don't support this. We don't condone this. So then when they emailed all of us back and said, whatever we decide to do will be private. We will not be making it public. So I, of course, made a TikTok and I was like, hey, remember when you publicly shamed Yvonne? I mean, shamed, whatever, she deserved it. But when you made a public example of this market partner who was making you no money, but now you've got rich white girl SED who's making you tons of money and you're not going to do anything about it because of your pockets. So I'm just not going to let that go. So we've been tagging Aunt Karen and as many other like big following activists that we can to try and get any kind of eyes on this to see, if we can make some waves. So that's the, I guess that's the Monet tea.
Yeah. And here's the thing, like MLMs do this, right? Like MLMs are going to make examples of certain people that like don't really benefit them at all. Right. And then completely ignore when it happens again. And it's a top ranking person that's making them a lot of money. Anybody at the top of the pyramid is not only like bringing in tons of people, but in bringing in tons of people, you're bringing in all that money, right? Like, cause you spend a lot when you join. I mean, you spend a lot all the time, but you spend a lot when you join. LuLaRoe did this. LuLaRoe did this. There were people that would do things and they would cancel people's contracts for using the wrong font and using the wrong colors in their social media posts. Like you could get letters of complaints from using the wrong font. Okay?
How dare you?
So like that's that. So you can get fired for using the wrong font, but you can have somebody make ableist comments, gestures, use voices, basically do a horrible impersonation for the whole thing to basically call themselves dumb, and then use the tokenization of their family member who has that whatever they're making fun of. It was Down syndrome at the time. So he had his Down syndrome sister-in-law sitting next to him and saying, see, it's totally fine. We got one in our house. And she thinks it's funny.
Right.
So, and, LuLaRoe stood their ground. They actually canceled, LuLaRoe was canceled. They made it look like it wasn't LuLaRoe, but they were canceled by the National Down Syndrome Society. The National Down Syndrome Society is like, we're not partnering with you anymore. You don't get to be on our float anymore. We're not giving you money anymore. We're uninterested. And LuLaRoe was like, well, you're really narrow-minded because you only want to help people with Down syndrome, and LuLaRoe wants to help everyone.
Their society's about that.
I know. And like, this is the stuff that happens, right? Like you're fired for using, Comic Sans, but you can stay though you tokenized your sister-in-law and were ableist because you make us a lot of money.
Right. And that's the thing that frustrates me the most is that people are like, look, I have a black suit. Okay. Talking every time.
I was going to say, Mandy Sue did the exact same thing in that video where she called Black people her chocolates. She justified it by saying she has mixed race and Black kids in her family, and that's what they call them.
And
is
here's the really
my
frustrating
milk
part about
chocolates
that.
and my vanilla swirls.
Here's the frustrating part about that is just because somebody that you know isn't offended by something does not give you carte blanche to then just say it because no one else will be offended by it. Just because if that's true, that she has Black people in her family who are totally okay with being called chocolates and milk chocolates. And if that person at LuLaRoe, their sister-in-law who has Down syndrome, thought it was funny and it's totally okay, that does not then mean that they speak for that entire population. So it doesn't give you permission to just be like, well, you say it's okay, so I'm allowed to say it. The one Black person I know says it's okay. No, it's not okay. It's just not. So that's the part of the education factor too that I'm trying to like reach out with this, is that just because you know someone who is Black, Asian, has a disability, whatever, just because they say that they're not offended doesn't mean that it's suddenly okay to say whatever you've said.
Absolutely. My oldest daughter, she's half Filipino. And it's like, I would never be like, she thinks it's totally fine to call her my little whatever. Absolutely not. In fact, people have said that and I've been like, excuse me? So it's wild to think that the parents and the close connections to people we're like, but it's totally, they would totally, it's fine. She thinks it's funny. Absolutely not. My kid would be like, that's not funny. Don't say that ever again.
Yeah, absolutely. And another just like tiny part of that is just so incredibly messed up is just the word my milk chocolates, my chocolate people. And it's like a word that has like deep meaning behind it when it comes to white people talking about people. You can't use that possessive kind of language, even if that's not how it's intended. That's why, like, the history of slavery is the reason that this seems okay to you, even if you're not conscious of that.
Yes, absolutely. That's a fantastic point. It's just like, for me, it's just absolutely wild that this happens. And here's another thing. Like, I don't think that people that do racist things are inherently racist. I don't think anybody thinks that if you say something or you use a possessive tone or you say my chocolates, that you're specifically doing that to like be racist, right? Like, let's get that out of the way. You're not a racist because you've done racist things. I've done racist things before I knew better. I've said racist things before I knew better. I'm like, what? Why? How is that racist? And then my friend's like, I love you, and I'll explain. This is why. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. That's the difference, right?
It's
when someone says, this is wrong and this is why.
Yeah.
You go from there.
100%.
You apologize and you go from there.
Yes, and we definitely obviously want to hold Monet accountable for keeping Mandy Sue on. I don't think that she is in a space to take that kind of feedback, especially from us. But that's happened to me too. Like, I used to wear dreadlocks in my hair, and one of my really, really good friends that I respect was like, "Let me sit down with you and explain why this is kind of not okay." And it depends who you're talking to, I guess, whether you're going to be receptive of it or not. But it's important to have those conversations as well as publicly calling people out.
Right. And to sit in that uncomfortable feeling. I think that's what's really difficult, especially like here we are, 5 white women talking about racism, right? So, if somebody pops on and it's just like, great, 5 white women are talking about racism, look at them. What we have grown up with, all of us in this generation, is that we have inherently been taught things that are racist. And so why I think it is important for us to be talking about it and then to continue the conversation and bring in Black and Asian and Latinx or Latinx and all sorts of creators is because the racism that we have been taught goes way back to our childhood, that I'm sure that every single one of us in this chat, everybody here that's in the comments, can relate that at some point growing up, you were told to not go to a certain neighborhood. Don't drive through that neighborhood. And when you asked why, maybe someone didn't say that's the Black neighborhood, but you knew that that's why. And we don't know why that, like, I don't know why I knew that, but I knew that. And those things were taught to us. And so because of that, like the science that, like the studies that have shown us that exists, it stands to reason that if they're given an option of watching a video that has a white person on it compared to a person with a black face on, or not black face, but a black person's face in the thumbnail, people might not realize what they're doing, but they'll just pick the white person's face. Right? Instinctively, not intending to be racist, but they just will choose that. So we have to then, when they click our face, have the message they need to hear that guides them over to the people who are the ones that need to speak on it. That's why I feel it's so important for us to do that, because we have these inherent things that you just realize are racist, and then you get uncomfortable and you're like, oh, I got to sit in that. And it's kind of the same feeling, maybe not as severe, but the same feeling as when you realize you were in a cult. When you realize that you are in an MLM and you're in a cult and you're like, no, I'm not racist. I'm not in a cult. And then you sit in that uncomfortable feeling. And then you're just like, okay, hold on. Let me actually look at my actions and observe what I'm doing. So yes, I just think we have to acknowledge whenever we have been racist, not intentionally being racist. It's just, unfortunately, white people in America were somehow, and we can't pinpoint it, right? I don't think anybody in here can be like, I know exactly the moment that somebody taught me this specific mindset. I can't, but we've all were taught it, and we have to unteach it. So I think that that's what this whole movement is trying to do. Yes, Jessica Hickson, self-awareness is key. I love you, Jessica Hickson. You beautiful, beautiful woman. Cheers. All right, I'm off my soapbox. Somebody's worried about Aaron B's and Julie Joe. They were like, you guys are quiet.
Yes.
Blank twice if you need saving.
Yeah, and these are conversations that we will have within the MLM space. And I just want people to be able to talk about things that maybe they've seen and that bothers them.
Yeah.
We're not here to make people feel bad or to shame them or anything like that. We just want to learn and be better each day. So the other thing that we wanted to talk about, which is another news thing that I have no idea that's going on because I've been so busy, is why Julie, Joe, and Aaron are here, because they're saying they're so quiet. They have been educating on an MLM that I'm not super familiar with, and so I'm going to let them sort of take the reins on that and explain what's going on.
First of all, let me just say that I love that us as white women are having a conversation about racism. I think it is up to us to, as white women, to stand up and speak up and to change. It's our responsibility to be the ones to speak up. So I loved what we were talking about. I was just letting everybody share their stuff, but that's how I feel. I don't know if you want to say something about that, Julie Joe, before we move on.
I mean, there's so much to say, like I've been so emotional watching, I've had a lot of conversations with my friends who are people of color. I just did the whole Stormy Wellington deep dive of her life, and I've had conversations with them all. And I made sure, like, personally, like, I feel like giving the platform for people of color to speak on other people of color in the anti-MLM world is so important. And so, like, I've just been having that conversation so much recently. And by the way, like, with this whole Monet thing, I'm not surprised that they did that. Like, I can't sit here and say, wow, I'm so surprised, sadly, that they did that. And so I'm just watching and emailing and, just letting and pushing people out who are like Mallory and Michelle and people who are like at the forefront of this, and hoping to help, I guess, help get their voices louder, I think is my part in this, as well as being active behind the scenes. So, yeah. I mean, I agree, obviously, with everything.
Yeah.
Julie Joe, I'm just going to need you to be a lemon, though, every episode. If you can just...
Absolutely. Next time, we got you, friend.
We're going to get you a lemon costume.
Love the lemon
Year. Just
We love it.
Fair. Fair. I love it. That's so funny.
it's
Yeah,
as if you
so-
own it too.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So I did an MLM fail video on a company called Ariel. And I, in my brain, like to kind of group MLM fails by company. It just kind of makes sense to me. And so I was like, this company's kind of been on my radar for a while. And I went to Instagram and looked at some hashtags and watched some reels and different things. And I was like, wow, this is really bad. And so, in my opinion, Ariel is a CBD hemp type company. And they have like what they claim to be like libido boosting products, mood boosting or stabilizing. I might not be using the right terms from their website. I don't have it in front of me, but those types of products. And so I did a reaction video to a handful of reels that showed up on Instagram, and I was debunking what they were doing. Now, keep in mind, I was not personally attacking anybody. I didn't name anybody. Was their IG handle in the video? Yes. And I don't blur anybody's faces out on my YouTube channel when I'm reacting to anything because it is posted publicly. They post it on a public platform, and I'm going to use that to debunk and to raise awareness and to educate people on the dangers of MLMs. And what happened from this on Instagram was absolutely, yeah, exactly, Janet. What happened was I posted the thumbnail to the video on my Instagram page, and it went bananas. It was like a living, breathing example of everything the anti-MLM community says that the MLM people do. It was live. It was unfolding right before our eyes. And so I was answering stuff, and Julie Joe got on, and a bunch of other people got on, and we're legitimately answering what they're saying, and they're just spitting venom. But they're accused, like the gaslighting in the whole scenario was absolutely insane because they were saying I was attacking them. I was making fun of their outfits. No, I simply stated that they were all dressed the same. And that was kind of odd. That's kind of cultish, right? And I was pointing out what they were doing. There was emotional manipulation. There was spiritual manipulation. There was all kinds of stuff that was happening. And I was calling out the behavior, not the person. But it was all linked because they're all in the same company. And so essentially what happened was one of the people, well, there were several people that are founders of the company. Two of them, I think she's a founder. Maybe I'm off on that, but one of them definitely was a founder. She was in one of the videos. It was not even her video that I was using. And she basically inserted herself into the narrative because I was using a video where she was in. And just went absolutely bananas. Julie Joe smiling right now is like the best thing ever.
I'm just, yeah.
Yeah, it was absolutely crazy. So there were tons of comments. And what I have found, and not that I have had lots of interaction with people that, in my opinion, have narcissistic-like tendencies. I'm not saying that these people are narcissists. I am not somebody that can diagnose anybody. I don't have that degree. I just know my experience. And again, I'm not calling these people narcissists. However, in the past, when I've had somebody that was trying to control what I was doing, what I was saying, how I was saying it, and just different things like that, and then used all the manipulative tactics, to me, those were narcissistic-like tendencies. The narrative was trying to be controlled on my page from information that was put out publicly, and they were upset because of how I was going about it. And in that was every kind of manipulative tool in the book. They were attacking me personally. They did, you don't know what you're talking about. I do know what I'm talking about because I've been a part of MLM for 13 and a half years, 6 different companies. And in my opinion, the company is not different. And we saw it in the comments. And so there was a response video done. Julie Joe and I did a live reaction to it, and she streamed it to her Facebook page. It was absolutely wild. I've never seen anything like this. I've never seen it. I mean, I know it happens, but I've never seen it to this capacity. So I don't know, Julie Jo.
Yeah. So I was going to do like a deep dive of them probably a couple months ago, but then so much happened. I think it was during the WFAB phase and all of that took over, you kind of threw everything down and then paused and did that. And so my biggest thing, as someone who struggles with mental health, which everyone knows, literally my name is Lexapro on practically everything. This MLM prides himself on helping people get out of MLM PTSD. And I find that just so disgusting. So in my opinion, their goal is to prey on the people who struggle with mental health issues. And they pull them in and act as though they can help get them out of that rut. When in reality, they're not therapists. And acting as though their MLM is different is, first off, wrong, because they practically took HempWorks everything and made it into theirs. There's so much we've found out about that. And I'm just, it's hard to talk about because it is just so upsetting to me. Like, for example, their top #1 income earner, the person really that went after Erin, her Instagram says fully recovered from MLM PTSD, #1 income earner, healing hearts and making millions. There's so much wrong with all of that. As someone who, like I said, has had a lot of mental health issues, and I think a lot of us have, even if you've never struggled with it before, because of pandemic, right? I think a lot of people have struggled with it through this pandemic. When you're in that vulnerable state, it's really easy to fall for that. Melissa says it's like leaving a dictatorship to start your own dictatorship, trying to prove dictatorship works. I think that's perfect. That's exactly what it is. And
it's so loaded, every word of that.
Yes, absolutely. As Erin and I go through the compensation plan, the income disclosure statement, everything, like it's the same as every other company. But some of the craziest things that have happened out of this are the CEO being upset about the top fails that Erin did and writing an entire post about it. The mom of the CEO, who, by the way, is on payroll, being upset about what Erin did and writing a post about it and writing on her YouTube video. And it's so interesting because they say they're different. They say that their people are different, except they're doing every single textbook thing. Yeah. And they're preying on people who struggle with mental health, which we know that a lot of people do, but that's their tagline.
Yeah.
And that's what we call gaslighting. When they're doing exactly what they say that you're recovering from. They're like, no, but we're different. This is not the same thing.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Gas prices are too high to be gaslighting me. Don't do that.
Yeah.
It's very interesting that they use that.
There was like
Especially,
a
like,
live feud, basically, right? When you two went live about this, she also went live on Facebook at the same time to bitch about it, right?
She shared the live. She shared the live from our YouTube channels to her Facebook page.
Yeah.
And that's another interesting tactic that I've seen.
And she
in
still
this is. Yeah. She's still talking about it. I'm talking about it because we're about to do like a 2, maybe even a 3-part series now that we're looking at the notes and stuff, JJ. Yeah. It might have to be like a 3-part series because of the research and what we're finding out and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
But
it's way worse than we thought it would be. Like looking in and digging into Ariel, digging into the people at the top, digging into all this, it's just way worse than we thought it would be. And it's so funny that someone with so many skeletons in the closet, which we all have, but I mean so many skeletons in the closet, would go on and feud like this because due to her sharing that video on her Facebook, people have come to us in our private message. They found us in our private message and have told us things that we would have never known. So
and she just shared that TikTok with your handle on it too.
Yeah, exactly. With the handle on it. I was like, hey, Skylar, thank you so much for sharing my content. I appreciate it because
I left her a comment. I was like, very odd that you would share her name on your TikTok video. Okay, cool.
I get it.
Yeah.
I mean, I am very compassionate, honestly, when it comes to this, because I can only put myself in their shoes. And
Yeah, what
Julie
would feel
Joe
like
and I
that.
talk about this all the time. There's several content creators that I talk about this all the time. And if I had not gone through what I did and started to slowly wake up and slowly heal and slowly process on my own time, you guys would be making videos about me. You guys would be reacting to my MLM content that I'm putting out. And so anytime I see this kind of anger reaction, one, I know that they're conflicted. They like to throw the term cognitive dissonance around. They're not using it properly. So let me just let everybody know what that is. It's when you are having an inner conflict with what you believe and what you're doing. And it's kind of like this inner battle. And when I see somebody that comes with anger, that to me is they're struggling. And that is when I think that these people need to be met with massive compassion. I'm still not mad at them. Am I going to let them vomit all over me and say all kinds of crazy stuff? Absolutely not. That's called healthy boundaries. However, am I going to continue to raise awareness through education? Yes. And the only way that I can do that is by going back and thinking about, well, how would I react? Honestly, probably the same way they are. I'd be pissed. I would have defended my leader. I would have defended my company because I was heavy into the indoctrination of belief in the company. So for me, am I going to allow that stuff to happen on my page after that situation? No. Am I going to delete comments? No. Am I going to have healthy boundaries around this? Yes. Am I going to meet them with compassion? Yes. Am I going to expose the skeletons in the closet for the purpose of education and awareness? Yes, because everything that's being claimed that they are different, their actions, their words, and everything else that they're doing are showing us otherwise. So now it's going to get a little bit deeper.
Yeah, and the fact of the matter is that now she's sharing everything with everyone in her downline. They are all watching us and listening to us. And so now we have the platform to maybe speak to them. That's huge. Like the goal for MLMers is like, don't listen. Like, right, education control. Don't listen, don't watch, don't look. Well, she's giving us a platform to speak, to have a conversation, to chat, which is perfect. Let's talk. Let's have a conversation today. Berta, were you wanting to mention something?
No, I'm enjoying this. I just sort of kind of pop in. I did want to talk about maybe Erin and like what she's experiencing in talking about this, and then also having her stuff shared by the MLM person, and like what that aftermath has been, and like have people now reached out to you and are sort of being like, hey, I heard this and what's up?
Yeah, that's exactly what's happening. There are so many people that are coming from her past. There are current team members coming. There are people that are creating Google Docs with timelines and experiences. There are, and let me just say, there's some information that is being shared about her family dynamics that I will not be talking about. And the reason that I'm not talking about that or won't talk about it is because that is personal. That is her family, and kids and family life and that type of stuff, in my opinion, is off limits. That's not even part of the narrative here.
Yeah, has nothing to do with our point. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but there are lots of things that are coming through. There are lots of videos that have been shared. There, I don't know how deep we want to go with this, Julie Joe, but are we getting getting messages? Yes. And it's current team members, past companies, people that have a long history, former friends. I want to be careful in not identifying people, because when somebody comes to me, unless they say, yes, share this, it's always going to be confidential. So let me just say, if you guys are watching this and you have stories, but maybe you're scared, and that's any MLM story. I'm not even talking about this situation in particular. I'm talking about if you have an experience, if you have a story and you're not ready to tell your story yet, but you want to tell somebody, you can message any of us. You can message any of the anti-MLM content creators and just know that that's not going to go anywhere unless you say, I want you to share this, or you can share anonymously or whatever, because what that does is it amplifies all of our voices. So,
and that's what's happening with Brooke Banks. I'm getting people who are messaging me, and it's not as much because Brooke will not name me. So I think if Brooke did name me, but people are finding the people who, the haters that are talking about her, and they're reaching out to me. I got a long email from someone who is also talking to you, Erin, telling me all about how they do benefit from people joining Lime Life. Because she did that whole like zero thing, like, and she's like, it's not zero, and I was like, I know it's not zero, but please tell me more. So
wait, are you telling me that they make money off of recruiting?
What?
Yes.
They don't want to thunk it.
Who knows?
Yeah. So how do I feel about, I think that you also asked, how do I feel about her sharing my content? My heart hurts for her, because I think and I feel what she is trying to do, that's not what's going to happen. Because if it were me, and again, I'm just trying to remove myself from the situation and really kind of look at it from an outsider. If I saw this scenario and it looked like two people were kind of going at it, and then I went to the comment section and I could see a night and day difference between how things were being handled, and then I saw this person sharing their content almost like she's trying to debunk what I'm saying, but she's not really doing it, and she's using TikTok trends to do it, I would almost be like, this is very interesting, but you can clearly tell the motives, JJ, what do you think?
Honestly, I just think that this MLM is so dangerous. It's new. It opened in end of 2020, October 2020, something like that, 2021. I think it's extremely dangerous. Not just, the products, whatever, they're okay, whatever. I don't really know much about the products. The idea behind what they stand for is very dangerous. And I'm glad that all this has happened so that we can expose that more. And so many people have already joined this company thinking that they're going to get the friends they need, the help that they need. And that's just awful and sad to think about as someone who experienced the same thing in my MLM, thinking joining would help me in my mental health when it did the exact opposite. And honestly, like, I'm here for, the exposing, the showing the lies, but I also just want to show people it is the same as every other MLM. What they're saying is just a tactic to get you to join. So
Yeah.
Absolutely. We're seeing again, it's cultish control, right? Mm-hmm. They're using loaded language. They're using thought-terminating cliches. They're using all of these things to convince you it's different. It's not the same. We're better. Everything you liked about the other one, that's us. And everything you hated, we left that there. It's different. It's better. It's ground floor. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I get it. We've all been there. We've all felt that. Even if it's like not an MLM, like that loaded language that's used in advertising, it's meant to elicit a response from us. It's meant to get us to go, oh, that looks like it could solve all of my problems. But again, listening to the show, listening to the podcast, we learn and we find out that most every single person has the same exact story. And that they are all the same, and that the bones are bad. And it's not this particular company or this particular company, although some companies are more problematic in the ways that they recruit and target people, but it's all the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Megan, you're right. There's lawsuits from HempWorks is suing. Multiple lawsuits. They are multiple. They are suing Ariel, and they're suing some of the top people. I think there was 12 or 13 people. My number might be off. I don't have the website in front of me right now. However, they're suing them for obviously breach of contract, because in October of 2020, allegedly they met in Florida with the CEOs of Ariel. I don't know if the company was put into place, but it was it's alleged that it was a planning meeting to launch Ariel. And so the lawsuit is cross-recruiting, which is something that we all see in all MLMs. Oh, well, here's a new opportunity. Let's everybody go over here. And then that person hits the top rank in the company because they brought all these people from the previous company and that, whatever. So breach of contract. There's three pieces or three things that they're suing them for: breach of contract, copyright infringement on the comp plan, because they are alleging that it is the HempWorks comp plan made. And if you guys know I haven't researched this, is actually what I'm going to do today. I did the Ariel comp plan yesterday. I'm doing the HempWorks comp plan today. But Ariel is basically saying, I can see Roberta like she's ready.
But it's different, you guys.
Yeah,
They're suing us for copyright infringement on our literal back office, but it's different.
Yeah. Well, and what Ariel says in their videos, on their YouTube channels, on their webpage, is that they're a hybrid, unilateral, binary comp plan. So there's like two parts of the comp plan. And I don't know anything as far as the HempWorks comp plan. I'm going to compare the two because I think it's important that when Julie Jo and I do the videos, that we talk about the differences, because they're saying that they're so different. But if they're so different, why is there a lawsuit saying that you're not different?
Oh yeah. And the culture is so different. Here's the deal. The reason that all of them move over, because the people who originally wanted to make Ariel said, hey, we can start early. We can get in early. We can start from the top. I mean, that's the whole point. That's why that's probably partly why they're being sued too, is because that's what happened. But I think that's a big part of how they get people to come over like that, even though they know it's wrong, is by saying, listen, we're getting in early. We're starting from the top. And even though they say that's not how you get to the top, like that's not part of it, like it's not about starting early. Yes.
It always is. It always is.
Right?
They took the exact same comp plan, like so close that they can be sued for copyright infringement.
So lazy. Yeah.
And
Yeah,
lazy.
I mean-
and lazy. But if
Yeah.
it's the same
Roberta.
comp plan, then yeah, anyone who comes in early is going to be at the top of the pyramid. That's how it works.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more like, instead of climbing the ranks, it's more like building a team. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. You're from the top and just building blocks
Building
all
the
the way down.
ranks. Building the ranks.
Yeah. And Megan says it's not just similar, it's identical. So
Yeah.
do any of you guys know anything about the HempWorks comp plan? Roberta, I'm sure you know a little something. No?
I really never. Okay, here's the thing. I don't do mini dives on CBD companies because TikTok takes them down.
Okay. Yeah.
They're like, that's an illegal goods and service. And I was like, so I
Meanwhile,
haven't.
they're doing ring
but
bomb
we'll do it
parties
here.
live.
Right. We'll do that.
Yeah,
We'll do
it
those
looks
mini dives here that TikTok doesn't like me to do over there.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Good idea.
Melissa J in the comments says that she personally knows someone at the top of HempWorks, so maybe reach out.
Yeah, Melissa J, message myself or Julie Jo. That'd be amazing.
Have you guys seen some of the TikToks where they talk about how it increases the female orgasm? It is
Oh yeah.
unbelievable. Listen,
Talk
I'm not a
about
prude.
FOMO.
Right. I'm not a prude by any means, but
That
even
fear
for
of
me, I was
missing
like,
out.
yeah, fear of missing orgasm. I'm like, come on, like this is you can't make these claims, because then what are you going to do when people take your gummy and don't have the most intense orgasm of their life, and then they're like, I'm going to sue you, like,
But
come
no
on.
one's gonna say that, right? Like no one's
Right.
gonna be like, it didn't happen. Like no.
Watch
you know what I
me,
mean?
watch me.
Huh.
I'll be the first one to start the lawsuit.
It's funny. That's exactly what Skylar said in one of her Instagram reels was, this company's products gave me my sex life back. And I was like, that maybe tells me a little more about your sex than the gummies. No offense.
Yeah, you should probably stop watching 50 Shades of Grey and start,
like you can't just say things like that, because a lot of people struggle with that kind of thing, and there's especially people
Isn't
who
that a health
might be
claim?
on- yeah, well, yeah, especially people who may be on medication for anything. Medication can hurt that ability, hurt your libido, and hurt those kind of things. And so for someone to say that, maybe that is a big dent in someone's marriage. So it's not just affecting like their health, but it's affecting their entire marriage. And so they're going to be like, oh my God, could this product be the thing that could help us? Well, no.
Yeah.
It's so sad.
And especially those that have trauma around intimacy.
Yes.
Like, this is not going to help that, because the trauma is what needs to be worked on. And so I just think it's really dangerous. And one of the health claims that I'm seeing now is they are saying that one of their products can help bring smell and taste back after COVID.
That's awful.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
And the people are struggling so much with that.
Yeah.
Like I know someone who
like Jessica Hickson.
Exactly.
Where's Jessica? Jessica, put in the comments what you think about that.
She wasn't here earlier. I don't know if she's still here, but yeah, like it's I mean, it's a CBD gummy. I live in California. You can get them everywhere. Like literally everywhere. Like probably the grocery store, you could probably get them.
That's the comment
like,
I
that's
made.
how ridiculous. Yeah. Also, you can go into any dispensary, because not only is it medicinally, but it's also recreationally legal here. And they have all kinds of CBD gummies with varying degrees of THC in them. If that's something that you want to do, whatever.
But you know what? I
for
said
me
that
to join a cult to get those products that I can literally get literally anywhere for cheaper, better potency, higher milligram dosage, better and like a reputable company that will show me their COA and will show me all the things if I ask for it, as opposed to being like, we don't keep those kind of records. No, I don't know.
Yeah, and what they say is they have third-party studies.
Right.
Which you can, and Julie Jo and I are still working on this, but you can see where they're getting the studies done, but you don't have all of the information shared. It's just kind of, they pick and choose, in my opinion, what they are showing. Oh, look, we have third-party studies. And that, just them saying that is probably good for a lot of people. A lot of people are like, oh, look, they're safe. They test them and this and that. You know, so I find that really interesting.
When I was talking to Ashley about this, when I was talking to Ashley about this, she said to me, because I said, I was like, I can get CBD gummies literally anywhere, at a vape shop, like anywhere. And she's like, well, the quality is not going to be as good as ours. And I was like, says who? Says who? And honestly, if it's not, even if it, right. And how do you know? And even if it wasn't as good, I'd rather get slightly worse down the street than have to join an MLM. Like, and it's not going to be worse because whatever. It's just, but it's like what they say to everything. Oh, Monet, our shampoo is better than everyone else's. Our everything for every MLM. You're not getting the same quality product at Target's stuff that they have on the shelf. You need to get ours, because ours is the best. It's so stupid.
Man,
stupid.
And their products are so expensive. What'd you say,
honestly, Erin? How many times did I say that about Shakeology of all things? Right?
Ma'am, I'm going to need to see the sources for those claims. Thank you.
Cite your sources.
We're going to call your dad.
You're going to call your dad. And their products.
Yeah, you're going to call.
And their products are so expensive. I mean, and we know that, but I mean like really, really expensive for like a 30 pack of CBD gummies. And people are like, oh, I have to have this one. I have to have this one. No, you're going to call your dad.
Just because it has a cool name doesn't mean it's better.
Yeah.
How much for like,
just because it has a unicorn on it doesn't
like
mean
$75?
No,
$75.
It's like $100 for a pack of 40 when I can get CBD gummies for a pack of 20 for like $25, $20.
Yeah.
Like ridiculous.
Yeah. It's bad. I mean, it is top-notch expensive.
And I live in Vegas. I can get whatever we need.
I also think who was it? Was it Megan? Yeah, what Megan said is so important because, you know, like she said, and Berta, you actually put it up in the comments. CBD can actually amplify a person's mental health symptoms and conflict with their psychotropic medications.
That's terrifying.
And that's why a doctor needs to be involved. And you know, they're not saying, hey, talk to your doctor before you use these.
Now let's
Absolutely
double
not.
back, because one of the videos that I reacted to, she was talking about mental health. And while she was trying to say that I was, downplaying or attacking her for mental health, no. Let's just be real clear. I was highlighting the fact that mental health was being mentioned in the reel to attract other people that also have mental health challenges, to draw them into the community in the MLM to sell the product or become a customer. That was the whole purpose of the reel. So that predatory practice was what I was calling out. And now with hearing what Megan said, I think we should pin that comment again if we can. The fact that can actually amplify the fact that somebody that has mental health challenges, it can amplify the symptoms. And here you have an MLM company that is saying, oh no, this is great for anxiety. This is great for this. You don't know somebody's situation. You don't know their health. You are not a doctor. You are not a counselor. You are somebody that is trying to make a $20 profit on selling somebody some CBD. That's dangerous.
Ooh,
It's
and
absolutely dangerous.
Yeah, what DJ Smith says, buy now, suffer more later, so you'll feel like you need to buy more to get better.
Yeah.
Buy them, take them. You might feel a little worse. Who knows? Depending on how it is with your medication, to feel like you need to get more so you can get better. It's just.
This point right here is great for when they have those BOGOs, which, are just like the reps, or it's like, oh my God, there's an incredible deal. You should stock up. Anybody that's in the MLM that is like, oh, these gummies have helped me, I'm going to stock up. They're going to buy a ton of stuff that they don't need.
Yeah.
And they're going to have all of these gummies. I mean, we see people's garages. We see their spare rooms. We see their bookcases full of nails and shakes and prove it flavors. You're just like, what are you doing? Well, I'm going to use it eventually. So when it was buy one, get one, I bought 100 and I got 100 for free. It's like, oh my God, you're the customer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
That was literally the reason I was so mad at you, Roberta, when I first found anti-MLM content. I know we talked about it on the podcast, but for those of you that don't know, I found Roberta on TikTok. That was my first exposure to anti-MLM content. And she was talking about front loading. And when she was talking about front loading, I literally was watching it on my phone. And I was like, scrolled past a couple of stories. And then I was like, wait, let me listen to this for a second. Maybe she's right. I've never listened. Let me just listen. Went back and I was watching and I'm like, God, everything she's saying, that definitely happens. Look over to my right. Oh, I have a counter full of ketones. This is really fat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 boxes. When was the last time I sold a trial? Oh my God, what she's talking about is absolutely happening. Okay, so it's only happening in Prove It. It's happening just in my company, right? Then I start going down the anti-MLM, content rabbit hole, and I'm like, I have to watch all of her, even though I'm really pissed off at her. I'm really mad. Let me just keep watching. I'm not gonna follow her yet, but I'm just gonna quietly watch. And I think that that's the process that a lot of people have when they start to question what's going on, and they don't realize that that's cognitive dissonance kind of kicking in, and you're trying to make sense of what's going on and why you're feeling the way that you are. And that was the process. So I think it's really interesting that you just mentioned that, because I'm like, yeah, I had a counter full of ketones, and I couldn't tell you the last time I had sold a trial at that point. Yes, they do make
Well, you weren't selling trials, Erin, because you weren't going live to send trials out while talking about your sex life. That's why. I mean, if you were doing that, that would have been a totally different situation.
Let's talk about this comment really quick, because I want Couture Cookies to know that you don't have to be embarrassed.
Not at all.
I have a PO Beachbody DVD in my possession somewhere.
Couture Cookies, have you listened to the episode of Life After MLM, the podcast that I was on? If you haven't, do it, because you will feel much less embarrassed, I promise you. Miss Kitty Carpenter in the house.
Yes, if you have not listened to Michelle's episode, she was a Beachbody hun, and she admits to, that's my favorite part of the whole episode, she admits to making a Beachbody account for her cat in order to buy what she needed to buy to keep her rank for that month.
Don't worry,
And it's like,
there will be,
it's horrible.
There will be t-shirts coming out with my cat joined my pyramid scheme.
Oh yes,
Oh,
ghost
man,
account.
it's
Well, you know
very
what? So
funny.
let me share, Julie, Joe, and Aaron. I don't think you guys know because I was messaging with Michelle last night because one of my kids' former daycare people, who is a teacher, special education, like, you know, again, we're all smart people who get scammed into these things. It has nothing to do with intelligence. She messaged me that she had seen one of my videos where I called myself Lumpy. And I was like, which one is that? I don't even know. Like, I've called myself Lumpy 1,000 times. What? So she was like talking about how she really believes in what she's done. And she's in a really, like, yes, she's lost weight, but she's in a really good mindset. So I sent it to Michelle and I was like, listen, I haven't finished your podcast yet. Can you give me some, like, whatever? But I sent her the podcast. I sent this girl the podcast and I said, listen to my friend Michelle. She's a former Beachbody coach, whatever. And the girl sent back to me, she was like, what? $4,300 is what she spent? I've never spent that much. And it, like, the tone of it was very, like, you know, judgy, where you're like not trying to be she. And then she said, she was like, I must be a different kind of coach. And I was like, you with all due respect, you're not.
This is
Lord.
I'm not gonna say quite as much, right? I am on
What is-
page. What is
this?
What
is this?
This is Megan's book, Cutting Ties, Healing After MLM. And there is a whole page with a table of cost versus profits, things that you don't necessarily think of as costs that go into your business that add up. And just like some of these things, website fees, packaging materials, refunds and return chargebacks, gas and mileage to events and parties, video chat fees for Zoom, products that you have turned into personal use, so many things on this table that are absolutely phenomenal.
Right.
And then all the other things that I said to you in that message that it was a very, very long message, so I won't say all of it, but I said, you know, she says she's been in for 2 years, right? And as a coach, I guarantee she's on Shakeology. So that's $130 a month minimum for 2 years. That's $300 and plus the Beachbody on Demand, which is $200 there. So minimum $3,300. And I know that if she's selling it, she's bought Energize, she's bought collagen, the Shakeology boosts, the Recover. She definitely spent more than $4,300.
She says that she has, I asked her, she's a team below her, and she says clients, no coaches, not many buy products. She says, my parents like the post-workout. That's about it. I do borderline 2% for my business, which I don't even really know what that's supposed to mean. But so, like, how would somebody not buy many products if you're a Beachbody coach? Like, I'm not sure I really fully understand. But I did ask her if she did a cost profits analysis. She said no. And I explained to her that, like, when I left Perfectly Posh, there's no way you could have told me I lost money. I really didn't believe it because I had money on my Posh Pay card. So I was like, no, I've made money. But like I said on Roberta's podcast, I lost $1,000. I spent over $4,000 in orders. And that's not even taking into account any packaging stuff. I didn't even have that. Like, I didn't log any of that. But
you need to buy Megan's book.
Yeah, right.
First of all, and you know, I told you this yesterday, but for everyone else, I am working on building a tool that will help people who are still in MLMs figure out, you know, their cost and profit, cost and loss, really analysis. You know, in an easier way than I did, because it was Excel sheets and lots of manual calculations. And I can build a tool like that. I'm going to put it out there as a resource for people, a free resource.
That's really
because
amazing.
I think that's
awesome.
The number one thing that you can do to change your own mindset if you're in an MLM that is approachable, it's something that you could actually probably get someone to do as an anti-MLMer, is to actually do some kind of analysis like that and have them actually realize that they're not making money, or they're not making the money they think they are.
Right.
And another thing I wanted to say, Mallory, in your episode, when we're talking about the money and everything, and I totally lost my train of thought just right now.
Something about the money I lost?
Of course I did.
While she's thinking, for those
I'm thinking, I'll figure it out.
No, I got you, Berta. for those of you that are wondering where to get Megan's workbook, you can grab that from Amazon. It is amazing. I highly suggest it. I love that Michelle's coming out with a tool that can help people too, because the more things that are out there, the better people are going to be able to process everything. The thing that I love about Megan's workbook is that it's for people that are currently in an MLM that are trying to process. It's perfect for those that have left. It's perfect for those that were like, I didn't know something like this existed. I thought this kind of stuff only happened to me. I saw a comment in here that somebody said I would buy that just to donate to my local library. How cool would that be to do that for our local areas? I think that is phenomenal. That is a phenomenal idea. Or even just to grab an extra workbook and have it handy, you know, and when you come across somebody that messages you, you can say, I've got this for you. Would it be okay if I sent it to you? If you're in a place where you can do that, I think that's beautiful.
I remembered.
Yes.
It was the funny part where you were like, I was showing, oh, look, I got to have this girls' night out and Posh paid for it. And you put it on your Posh card. And then immediately the next day you needed to make an order and you no longer had money on your Posh card. So you had to use your regular card. And
Right.
It's just like, you know, like you see people being like, look at all this money I made. Oh, I bought my Starbucks or whatever. But you don't know, like maybe they only made $7 and they could only buy Starbucks because it was only $7. Or maybe they bought a bunch of stuff and said the MLM paid for it, but that was actually money that was for bills. And so then they actually had to use their regular money for, you know what I mean? Like we don't know what's happening behind the scenes. So all of that is very deceptive. And that was something that you had admitted that I was like, wow. Thank you for admitting that, because there's a lot of people out there that have done the same exact thing and hide it and feel shame and sort of keep that in. And we don't want that anymore. We want people to be like, oh my God, I did that too. Blah, sorry.
Well, and it also ties into when you guys were talking about at some point in one of your videos, that I don't know when I saw it, but about buying rank. And I was like, oh my God, we didn't do that there. But then I realized that I would have conversations with my husband where I'd be like, hey, I only have $50 left until I hit this rank or this whatever, and I'll get a $250 bonus. And he'd be like, okay, so, you know, so we make 200, fine. And like, so we were like justifying that if I spend the extra $50 in product that I'm going to use anyhow, or you know, someone would say, well, you can just resell it. So just, if you buy it, you can resell it. Or if you're just going to use it, it's no big deal. So then you get that bonus, you got that rank, but you bought your own rank. It wasn't authentic. It wasn't organic. So, you know, it's very,
yeah. And I bought my rank every single month of the 3 months that I was like competing for the starter, whatever, success starters thing. You know, every single time that I was celebrated for ranking or keeping rank for any reason in Beachbody, I bought it myself on the last day. And my upline knew that. And she still asked me to come on and do a live and talk about how, you know, how I hit rank and how I'm doing so well in my business this early in it and everything. She knew that I wasn't. And it was just quietly understood that I wouldn't say that part.
Right. And like, then when they show and when people show their, you know, blanked out paychecks where it's like, you know, look at, it's payday. Like Monet does this on Fridays. They're like, so happy it's a payday Friday. And they blank out and meanwhile, it's likely what? Maybe even if we're being generous, $100. I'm sorry, if you're only making $100 on a paycheck Friday, that's not, what are you? And even with the bonus on the 15th, I talked to Jenny Wild about it. And she was just like, yeah, some bonuses can be really big, but you're still, you know, some people are looking at like maybe a $500 check on the 15th. And I'm like, that's still not big. Like it might look big when you get it initially, but then when you consider that taxes weren't taken out, when you look at it, consider that that's supposed to be like a normal paycheck. That's not that's not a living paycheck. So I just don't understand.
No, it's wild. It's wild because it's all a facade. It's all fake. Mm-hmm. It's all predicated on deception and lies. Without the cult, without the scam, and without the lies, MLM doesn't work. Mm-hmm. It just doesn't. Because it's the whole entire thing is built on a utopian idea of a utopian society, which doesn't exist.
Right.
It's wild to me. So it's just like, I have no idea. Like, and again, it's like sometimes I would have never felt this way 4 or 5 years ago. But I've done a lot of research and I've learned and I've seen patterns. And it's not even just, well, this report says this, right? Like, of course, the late Dr. John Taylor's incredible and his report says this. And then my lived experience and the anecdotal experiences and the corroboration of hundreds and thousands of people is the proof. 1 time, fluke. 2 times, coincidence. 100 times, a pattern. 1,000 times, systemic.
Exactly.
Right?
That's exactly right.
And so, like, when you follow that, you're like, how the fuck is this happening? Well, it was built that way.
That needs to be a merch idea for you, Roberta. That quote that you just did.
That
Okay.
blew
I'm
my
serious.
mind. I've never heard
Okay,
that.
I'll work on it. I'll work on
mind.
it. I'm going to work on merch. That's another thing. Like, people keep asking, and it's always in my head.
Working on that.
So,
Well, I think we need
talk
a
about that for a
t-shirt.
second?
We need a t-shirt for this show with
For
that
sure.
graphic from Emily.
Can we talk about merch?
Obviously. And we
Because I know-
need JJ on there.
yes, Emily is working on that, and she's actually going to save everybody's face, and so I'm going to have to give her people's faces like in advance, and they'll be like, can you make one for this show? Again, like, this show it's a living document, and it's going to continue to grow, and we're going to talk about different topics and things like that. I'm so excited. I already have some topics written down. I will tell you guys.
And Roberta is the only permanent host.
I'm the only permanent host, but we're going to have guest hosts that come all the time. Not even guest hosts, but experts, advocates, whoever wants to come on the show. If you feel like you have something to add to the topics that we're going to work out, like, I would love to have you. We're going to tackle toxic diet culture in MLM. We're going to talk about the cult aspect of it. We're going to talk about the religious aspect of it. We're going to talk about comp plans and IDSs. We're going to go through all of this stuff because, again, like, I love the podcast, but the thing on the podcast that I'm always bummed about is there isn't this like live comment section of people saying, oh, this, because even when we're doing our conversations, like, we follow a guideline, but a lot of times it tangents off. And in those tangents, I feel sometimes we get like the realest real, you know? And so having a live audience, when we can have a live audience, is great. And we can get deeper into these different these different things. I'm super excited about all of it.
Wait, 2 things. Emily is here, so let's make sure we shout out Emily. Emily,
Where is
thank
she?
you.
Oh!
She just said she's into the chat. Emily, you are amazing. Emily Christmas, she's the one who does our graphics. Also, Angela Steed said, I'm here for bitching with Barb. There will be no bitching with Barb today.
There's a bitching with Barb segment that will be coming.
It's not today.
We'll figure it out.
Listen, yeah, and not today, but we will have one, and it'll be a regular reappearing thing.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if we have any crazy
Emily
characters that people want to
added.
come on. Ooh.
Yes. Can't
That's
wait.
gonna be fun.
Emily is amazing.
And as I learn how to use this platform, I will learn how to do all the extra special things because I am paying for this. I am paying for this. This year is the year that I decide to upgrade things and to the paid version. So thank you, StreamYard, for taking my money this morning.
You like paid for it today.
I literally
love
paid for it this
StreamYard.
morning.
I've had it
because I use it. I've been on like Savvy Show and other shows and things. And I've never had to upgrade because I've never needed to record and save. You can't record and save without paying. So we're recording and saving because I wanted these chats saved for the people that can't make it live. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. There was as we close this up and finish it for the week, there was a question that I started earlier that we're going to go back to. It was Andrea, and she had a really great question. And I think all of us that are here, I want to give everybody a little bit of time to answer this. Here we go. It says, not sure if you guys will have time. We made time. But if you can give us aspiring advocates or new creators some pointers of how to start out, that would be amazing. So who would like to go first?
I'll go. Can you hear me? Okay. So for me, and this is what I was told over and over about my YouTube, just start. It doesn't have to be perfect because it won't be. the only way for it to get better is to do it and work on it and to learn over time. Just start. So that's just one tip. And I'll
Proof
let
in the
everyone else.
pudding of that tip is listening to Roberta's first episode of Life After MLM. Am I right?
There you go. Yeah. So that's my biggest one, is just start, and it won't be perfect. It might be your worst video, but that doesn't matter because it's going to get better. So.
Okay, I'll go next. My tip is more about the planning aspect. One thing that is challenging with anti-MLM content is there are always situations popping up. The WFAB situation, the Ariel situation. You want to have kind of two game plans, in my opinion. So like, you want to have, okay, these are the types of videos that I want to do this week. If you are not a planner, just start that way. If you're a planner, plan your full month, plan your quarter, like work with however you are designed to operate. I'm not the most organized, so I plan by week. But then also you got to have a little bit of leeway when it comes to things that are popping up that need to be covered, because it's a living, breathing example of everything that we're talking about in the anti-MLM movement. So when it comes to planning, plan what you want to do. If a week is all you can do at a time because life, and that's just how your brain works, that's fantastic. Work with your style of planning and organizing. And I can hear some of you going, I don't do that. I don't plan and I don't organize. You need to do a little bit. And if it's just planning your video or videos for the week, fantastic. But also leave a little bit of wiggle room for the things that are popping up so that you can have time to research that and put videos out and content out for that. So plan, but also be flexible at the same time.
Who wants to go next?
Michelle, do you want to go, or do you want me to?
Yeah, I can say just a little something. I'm a pretty small time creator, and I literally just put out my first YouTube video last week. Mostly I'm working on my website, and that's really where my focus is going to be. So I really think, and I did this in Beachbody too, is find a niche. Find what is it, Roberta, that you always say? Find a gap that needs to be filled and fill it, right?
Yeah.
And that's what we were all told in our MLM, right? Why not apply it to anti-MLM? So I think that there's a little bit of a gap in that there's not one place to find many resources, and that's the gap that I'm trying to fill. So, I think that there are some wonderful creators that have found a niche in covering racism in MLM, like Amal Williams is amazing about that. And I think that there are many gaps still in this community because it is still kind of a baby community that need filling. And that's my advice, is to find a niche that you are passionate about and go with that. Don't be inauthentic by trying to copy what other people are doing if that doesn't speak to you.
Here's my advice, because I feel like I'm really the newbie sort of with like this random rise because I came up with a bizarre character that you all seem to just love. But my advice is care about the content. If your main goal is like, I want to talk about this because I want to be YouTube famous and I want to create a following and I want followers, you're going to drive yourself crazy. If you're making videos and it's not about, I need to say what is on my heart. And that's how I started. I literally was up almost half the night just thinking about everything I had been seeing and reading and hearing from Roberta and all the other content creators that I was watching. And I just said, I have to talk about it. And so I just started, like Julie just said, I had the idea for the name in my head. And I was like, I'm just going to do it. So I made an email, Instagram, YouTube that same day, recorded my video, barely edited. If you go back and watch it, I'm just like, hey, so this is probably like my first and last one. I think I say 3 episodes in a row. I'm like, this is probably my last episodes. Barb is my upline. So, and that's the thing, like, it has to be And remember that it's not a competition. We are so used to in the MLM world. And I talked about this, I think, with Roberta, or maybe on your show, Aaron, I forget. But like in my career where I was I am a teacher, but before that I was a performer. And my entire life has been nonstop competition with other women. Just how can I be better than the next person? How can I get the part? How can I get the job? And I still to this day battle with seeing like, oh, this video didn't get the same amount of views, or someone else got more views than me. And then I have to like stop, check myself and say, it doesn't matter. You're doing this for the message. You're doing this because you have something important to say and people do want to listen. So that's what you have to remind yourself. If you're just starting out, it has to be about the content and the content only. And then people will find you and they'll resonate with you, because that's what I'm experiencing right now. And it, you know, and it has peaks and valleys. I had this big peak over Thanksgiving, Christmas, and now it's just kind of, you know, my little valley is just kind of chilling. And then, you know, something's going to blow up and Barb will cover it. And then I'll have another peak or what? I don't know. You know, it's just crazy. So just care about the content above all else. And then the rest will come. That's my 2 cents. Roberta, we can't hear you.
You're muted.
Oh, I'm muted.
She was
That's
like,
another
saying
thing.
Something inspirational.
I'm being inspirational. That's another thing that happens on the
I'm
podcast. I'll like
inspired.
pop in and I'm talking and they're like, you're muted. I'm like, oh, of course I am. See, I took your guys' constructive criticism that I talk too much and I stay on mute. And now the problem is I'm on mute and talking and you can't hear me. You see, I can't make everybody happy. Anyway,
Try harder.
I should probably try harder. What I was saying was that all of that advice is exactly what I would say, and advice that I have actually given these people as well. Anti-MLM is already its own niche, right? There's so many people that are like, wait, like that's a thing. So you have to understand that we're already in like a super duper niche. What you need to do inside that niche, like Mallory just said, is find your micro niche within the niche. I have been a part of this. This is my 5th year of anti-MLM advocacy until 2021. And when I actually found my own personal focus, I was just steadily growing. I'd maybe get 20 people because I posted something about cognitive dissonance. And then the Huns that used to follow me because it was my LuLaRoe account would go, oh crap. And then I'd lose 5 people. And I'd be like, okay, now what? And it was these little increments. And I'm like, I have something important to say and I want people to hear it. And I looked at my content and I was like, I'm sort of just regurgitating, which is fine. There's room for the regurgitation until you find your micro niche. And that's what I did. I took John Taylor's research. I took things from Robert Fitzpatrick. I shared what I learned from Ponzi-nomics or what I learned from things. And that was what I shared at the time. And I had a small following and it was okay. But I wanted to grow. And that was something that I always struggled with. How do I grow? My numbers aren't growing. My numbers aren't growing. People, I'm checking and checking and checking my analytics. And I realized I was more focused on growing than making original content. Because I wasn't really making original content. And I had battled with starting Life After MLM for years. You can see the early inclinations of Life After MLM on YouTube when I was doing those like Facebook Live videos. And I realized I have to focus. What about me sets me apart, even this much, from everybody else saying the same stuff? What sets me apart? Well, I'm very compassionate, and that's something that I've been working on, is being compassionate and having the compassion in the movement. I'm going to do that. Well, what isn't somebody talking about? What's not being shared? What's the one elephant that I'm like, why isn't anybody talking about this? And that's what I decided to talk about. And it was victims. It was talking to victims and breaking down that systemic bullshit, right? And being like, okay, well, where were you when you joined? Oh, you were vulnerable too. Well, what happened? What was the straw? Oh, you found out they were lying and it was a scam too. Oh, wow. And it was like, do you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden people are like, have you heard Life After MLM? Like, I'm listening to it. I'm in an MLM, but I'm listening to it. And what she's saying is true. I think I'm going to quit. Or you should listen to this because you're doing this, whatever. And when I finally focused, my numbers went crazy. I mean, I was also in a movie, so let's take that off the table. But what I'm saying is even before LuLaRich came out, When LuLaRich came out, I had over 500,000 downloads on my podcast before LuLaRich came out. Okay? We've surpassed that. We've doubled that after. But before, I was growing steadily before. My TikTok had over 100,000 people before LuLaRich came out. Obviously, I knew it was coming out. I set the stage. I was like, I got to do these things because people are going to come. Build it and they will come. I built it. I knew it was coming. I knew people would come. So that's the other thing. If you have something that's special about you, especially if that thing that's special is what MLM used to recruit you in, whether you're a spoonie, whether you're just looking for something that works with your body and your nutrition, right? Michelle talks about that because that's what got her. I talk about the friendship, the community, because that's what got me. If you look and say, what's special about me that MLM exploited? That's what you need to be talking about.
Right.
Even if it's difficult, even if it's hard, even if you're like, but I don't want to pigeonhole myself, you have to find your micro niche in the niche.
Right. And that's the thing. It's like, Roberta, you talk about how like the movie really helped launch you even further from where you were. And like, I had a very minor similar thing, just not that I was in a movie, but, I didn't ask for it, but Chelsea Suarez mentioned me in a video. I didn't ask her to do that. I didn't know she even did that, but we were in a Zoom call together, messaging each other on Instagram, talking. So she brought up that I did that. And when that happened, I saw a huge boost in my numbers because she was like, go follow, I don't want no hunts. But like those things just have to happen organically and just naturally, like you can't expect that everyone's going to be like, we'll shout you out. Like it just has to happen naturally. And so that's why I said, I don't know where I said it, but like, I can't sit here and say, if I can do it, you can do it. Every one of our situations, like I will never get Roberta's numbers because I'm not in a movie based on a crazy experience. So Roberta couldn't be like, if I can be in an MLM and get scammed and be in a movie, so can you. Well, no, we can't. We can't all be in LuLaRich. Like it just can't happen for all of us. So you just have to care about the message more. And then whatever's going to happen will happen. All right, soapbox done. I'm done.
Absolutely. That is great as well. That is fantastic advice. All of this is really fantastic advice. And then, of course, we have a secondary question on the advice to go about collaborating with others. So I'll start just because, like, that's what we're doing right here, right? Again, in your micro niche, when you find it, that's when people are going to want to collaborate with you because you're offering something that's different, that hasn't been done a million times. We're having so much fun with like the musicals and the Broadway stuff right now. And honestly, the other night, Michelle was like, I'm going to do this Bruno thing. Does anybody want to help? And I was like, oh my God, me. And we figured it out. We literally, there was I think Laura asked, how did you guys do that? This is how we did it. Michelle spliced the music. She made a video. She did her parts. She posted it on TikTok as a private video, downloaded the video, sent it to me. I uploaded that video private to get the audio, and then I made my own video private of me doing my parts, and then I posted it private, saved it, sent it to Michelle, and then she edited and spliced those two together using the audio that we
exactly
on TikTok.
Guys,
I'm sure those without mental illness and ADHD are like, you did 10,000 steps. It literally is so easy. But we have ADHD, and we literally were like, how are we going to do this? And we figured it out at the exact same time and like sent each other the exact same texts, and we're like, jinx. Like,
guys, that's literally how I do my duets, my remixes with Brittany Rose, because she's blocked me.
There you
so
go.
Like I find another one, I upload her, I screen record, I upload it to TikTok as a private video, then I duet myself.
Well,
then I
because
put it that way. So yeah.
So when you upload a TikTok video private, you can still click on use this sound and make a video with that sound as well. Exactly. So that's a thing.
Yep.
But
so
yeah,
that's how we did that.
We literally came to that conclusion at the exact same time. I love that our brains are like this. I I don't know. But I will say, as far as like the splicing the music together and everything like that, I learned all of that from making content for Beachbody. So
yeah, we
Wah,
learn
wah.
things and then we actually utilize them. The positive thing that we take out of MLM and actually utilize after the fact, which is really great. But honestly, I say it all the time. I have no idea what I'm doing. The first time I do anything, I'm like, we'll see. Let's see. I hope this is cool. And, you know, we go from there. It's not a huge deal if you don't know what you're doing. You learn, you make a video that's cringy or you're like, ugh, you delete it. You try again. In terms of collaborating with people, if you have a really great idea, reach out and be like, hey, look, this is my idea. I thought you'd be perfect. This is what I wanted to do. Do you want to collaborate with me? You also have to understand that we're really busy and sometimes we might not say no, but we might actually say not right now. We're really busy right now. I'm really busy with this, this, and this. You know, I can't really even think about doing something like that until maybe a few weeks from now. And you're going to have to understand that that's okay, right? We're teaching boundaries. We're setting boundaries. We're not having toxic MLM, like boss babe, you know, no boundaries anymore. We have boundaries and it's totally fine. I want to collaborate with you guys. I want you guys to come on the show. I'd love to have you guys come on here as a panel, all of it, but it takes time. So reach out, create those relationships and come to people who you think are a good fit. Like, I don't know if I would come to somebody who doesn't do wild Broadway musical stuff and be like, you want to collaborate with me? They're like, no, I'm a horrible lip syncer. No, I don't want to do that. So that's fine. I know who to reach out to for certain things. And I think that's another thing in knowing what you want to collaborate with and knowing who would be willing to collaborate with you as well.
And also remember,
advice from you guys.
And there's no end of month deadline. Like you don't, if you have an idea to collaborate, you don't have to do it. Like, we don't have to have it done by the end of the month in order for it to matter. Like I came to you guys with the idea for the collaboration we did after Thanksgiving when Monet came out with their little Christmas song. And it took some time for me to be like, guys, get these videos to me. Like, let's go. And everyone's like, oh my God, I forgot. Like, it takes time. And the only deadline I have was that like, okay, we have to put it out before it's not relevant anymore, you know, right. But like, it takes time. Like these things, because everybody's busy. Like I'm a full-time teacher. Like I'm literally updating my grade book right now. So it just like, there's stuff that has to be done. So anyhow,
I think also let's have kind of the difficult part of this conversation too, because in MLMs, we want to collaborate with everybody. And I love that Roberta brought up healthy boundaries because you don't have to collaborate with everybody. And I'm just going to speak for myself personally. That's been a hard lesson for me because I naturally want to collaborate with everybody. I naturally want to be like, yes, let's do this. That's a great idea. But at the same time, I've had to really slow myself down, ask a lot more questions. For example, I was asked to be on somebody else's podcast and I started to ask more questions because part of me was like, I don't know, like, I just kind of got that little, I don't know. And so I started to ask questions. Well, what is the podcast about? It was explained to me what the podcast was about. And it's not really things that I speak on.
Yeah, bring her in.
It's not really things that I want to move forward. And so don't be afraid to say, I don't think that this is a right fit. I think that is very healthy. And so as uncomfortable as that was, I said to this person, I really don't think that this is a right fit for what I'm trying to do here. You can even say my brand or whatever, however you're building, your thing online. Don't be afraid to kind of listen to that inner voice. If you're like, this doesn't feel right, I'm not really sure, you ask more questions, and don't be afraid to say, I don't think this is a good fit for me, but thank you. I will continue to listen to your podcast if that's something that you're going to do. I will continue to support. I think what you're doing is great. It's just not a right fit for me. I think that is very healthy. And that definitely has been part of my healing after being in an MLM and wanting to collaborate with everybody and put out tons of content for free and just overstretch myself in every aspect of that phrase. Don't be afraid to say, I don't think this is a right fit for me, but thank you, and move on. Have that conversation.
Yeah. For me, don't collab with someone because you think they're going to give you like subs or follows. Because like that's never the point of any of this, right? You know, never subs, never follows. Collaborate because of what is going on in the moment with the content that you have, right? Like me and Aaron and Ariel, duh, right? We've gone through this together. We're collaborating together, and you know, we work together really well anyway, and we collaborate all the time. But you know, don't expect subs or followers either. Just go in it always for the point of, you know, proving like that, you know, MLMs are bad or whatever. Whatever we do in the anti-MLM community, do it for the right reason and not for the wrong. Because I think sometimes we can go in thinking, wow, I'm going to collab with someone who has 30,000 subs on YouTube. I'm going to get like 12,000 subs. Well, no. I mean, no, that's not going to happen.
No.
And don't be upset if you won't either.
I just what we were kind of talking about.
Hi.
Oh, look! Can you say hi?
See, this is real life, and we got real moms dealing with babies and life, and it's this is real life.
I wanted to kind of piggyback off of exactly what JJ just said, because I said this to some of you guys last night, and it just rang so true to me. I didn't even think about it before. Along with the, you know, not having expectations about subs and followers. When you collaborate with somebody who does have a lot of followers, I got the vast majority. Please don't click those buttons. He's trying to chat with you guys in the chat. Oh my word. The majority of my followers on TikTok came from one post that I did that I am not even in, that just somehow went viral. Oh, baby.
Michelle, stop pinching the baby.
I know, I'm so mean. Oh my God, I'm the worst. But after being on Roberta's podcast, I got 60 followers. I'm gonna have to turn this off.
Oh.
Real life, y'all. Real life. Yeah. I think this has been an amazing first episode. I'm so thankful that you guys were like, let's go. Let's do this. For me, I'm so proud of everybody. I'm so excited for 2022. I am so excited for where this is going to go and the topics that we're going to tackle. If you are watching this and going, oh my God, I want to be on one of these, let's collaborate. Let's come to me with the topic and we'll make it happen. This will be a little more planned in advance because of the amount of people that are on the show, but I'm very, very excited to see where this takes us, and the conversations that we can have this year and the change that we're going to make. So thank you so much for coming. You guys are incredible. Thank you.
Yay. Thank you everybody for being here.
Yeah. Thank y'all for letting me come on last minute.
I know. No, of course, always. And thank you so much. I think we can have, I think I can have up to 10 people. So, I mean, we really can push the boundaries here on these mega chats. Again, bye. Thank you so much. You guys are incredible. And
Can you tell she was
we'll see you next week.
Say bye-bye.
Bye.